In this video, I'm going to be trading OTC currency pairs utilizing three indicators: the ADX indicator, the Williams percent R indicator, and the MACD indicator. Gus Schmidt here, and I'm back again with another trading video. So today I'm on the pocket option platform, and I'm going to be trading OTC pairs, currency OTC pairs. So if we click on the assets icon at the top left here, Pocket Option has various assets available to trade. They have currencies, cryptocurrencies, commodities, stocks, and indices. So since I'll be focusing on OTC pairs, I've already checked off the OTC pairs that are available to trade on the platform. That way they can show up at the top of the chart here when you check off the star icons, and I can quickly go through each pair and analyze them individually here. Okay, so I'm going to be utilizing three indicators. The first indicator is the ADX indicator. So if we click on the indicator icon here, the ADX indicator is here. The Williams percent R indicator is down here, and the MACD or moving average convergence divergence indicator is here. All right, so for the ADX indicator, when I click on the pencil icon, I have the ADX smoothing set to 14 and the DI length set to 7. And in the style settings, I have disabled the ADX line. We're not going to need that. It's enabled in the default settings. And then I've increased the line width for the plus DI line and changed the color to green 2 pixels. For the minus DI line, I've changed the color to red 2 pixels. Okay, we can go ahead and save that. For the Williams percent R indicator or the Williams percent range, I've set the period to 7. And in the style settings, I've only changed the line width of all the lines to 2 pixels each, 2px. All right, so we can go and save that. And for the MACD indicator, I've maintained the default settings: fast period 12, slow period 26, signal period 9. Okay, and then for the style settings, I've maintained all default settings, so we can go ahead and save that. For the candlestick charts, I've changed the candles to Japanese 30-second candles, 30-second regular Japanese candles. And for my trade timer, I'm going to be setting it to 2 minutes, so I'll be taking 2-minute trades while looking at these 30-second Japanese candles. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video and look for some trade setups. Okay, so I'm on the USD EGP OTC pair, and I just took a sell trade here. And the reason why I took the sell trade, first of all, we're seeing a bearish trend occurring currently in the price of the currency pair here. And then secondly here, if you see the divergence, the ADX, the divergence of the two ADX lines here, a growing divergence. And then if we look at the Williams percent R line, we're seeing that it's holding steady below the minus 80 line, which tells us that the strength of the current bearish trend is strong. And then if we also look at the MACD indicator here, we're beginning to see these red histogram lines growing in length here and printing below the 0 line. So all three of these four confluences, actually, when we take into account the price action, the divergence, the ADX divergence, the strength of the Williams percent R telling us the strength of the bearish trend, and the MACD indicator printing histograms, growing histograms below the 0 line, suggests a continued bearish push to the downside in the price of this currency pair. So let's monitor this trade and wait for the expiration. Okay, so that trade was in the money. All right, so I'm going to pause the video and look for our next setup. Okay, so I'm on the USD CAD OTC pair, and I just took a sell trade. Now, similarly to the previous trade here, uh, we're seeing with the price action, we're beginning to see a strong bearish trend here starting to occur, and then the ADX indicator is showing us a growing divergence between the lines here, if you notice. Thirdly, we have the Williams percent R holding steady below the minus 80 line, which tells us that the strength of the bearish trend is still relatively strong. And then the MACD indicator, the histograms are printing below the zero line here. So all of these confluences suggest a continued bearish movement to the downside over the next 2 minutes. So let's monitor this trade and wait for the expiration. Okay, so we lost that trade. Although all the Okay, so I'm on the Great British Pound Aussie Dollar OTC pair, and I just took a buy trade here. And the reason why I took the buy trade is if we're looking at the price action here, we're seeing a current bullish momentum here in the candles from bottom left to top right. Secondly, the ADX, the plus DI line is holding steady above the minus DI line here. Then we have the Williams percent R line holding steady above the minus 20 line here, which suggests that the bullish trend is relatively strong. And then we have the MACD at the bottom here. The candles, although thinly printing, they're still printing above the zero line here. So all of these confluences suggest a continued bullish push to the upside over the next 2 minutes. So let's monitor this trade and wait for the expiration. I also took 3 trades here, and that's to help recover the loss of the. Okay, so all 3 trades were in the money. Okay, so I'm on the Canadian dollar Swiss franc OTC pair, and I just took a sell trade here. And the reason why I took the sell trade is, first of all, the price action is showing a start of a bearish trend here. Then we have the ADX line, the ADX indicator showing a growing divergence between the minus DI line here, the red minus DI line and the green plus DI line, a growing separation of the lines. Then if we look at the Williams percent R line, it's showing the line holding steady below the minus 80 line or hovering at around the minus 80 line here. So then we also look at the MACD line here, the MACD histogram, and that's telling us if we look at the lines here, they're sloping downward. So these 3 confluences, really 4 confluences, suggest a continued bearish push to the downside over the next 2 minutes in the price of the currency pair. So let's monitor this trade and wait for the expiration. Okay, so that trade was in the money. All right, so I'm going to pause the video and look for our next setup. Okay, so I'm on the USD IDR OTC pair, and I just took a buy trade here. And the reason why I took the buy trade is, first of all, if you look at the price action here, there appears to be a growing bullish trend, the start of a bullish trend here, whereas previously the price had been consolidating with no clear trend. Secondly, the ADX indicator is showing us a divergence between the lines. Then if we look at the Williams percent R line here, it's holding steady above the -20 line, which suggests the strength of the bullish trend is still relatively strong. And then thirdly, the MACD line, the MACD indicator histogram lines are printing above the 0 line here, and the signal line, the MACD line and the red signal line are both trending upwards. So this suggests a continued bullish push to the upside in the price of the currency pair. So let's monitor this trade and wait for the expiration. Okay, so that trade was in the money. All right, so let me pause the video and look for the next trade setup. Okay, so I'm on the Euro USD OTC pair, and I just took a sell trade here. And the reason why I took the sell trade is we're seeing a bearish trend in the price of the OTC pair here from on the chart from top left to bottom right. Then if you look at the ADX line, the minus DI line is diverging from the plus green DI line. Then if we look at the Williams percent R line, it's holding at around the -80 line here, dipping below, but it's holding at the -80 line. Then if we look at the MACD indicator here, the bars are printing below the 0 line here. So all of these confluences suggest a continued bearish push to the downside. So let's monitor this trade and wait for the expiration. Okay, so that trade was also in the money. All right, so I'm going to pause the video and look for one last setup. Okay, so I'm on the USD Russian ruble OTC pair, and I just buy trade here. And the reason I took the buy trade is we're seeing a divergence of the green plus DI line and the minus DI line here. Growing separation of the two lines here. The beginning of a bullish trend occurring here. The price had been consolidating here, ranging, but we're beginning to see the beginning of a bullish trend. Secondly, here the Williams percent R line has crossed above the green -20 line. here, suggesting that the bullish trend is relatively strong. And then if we look at the MACD indicator here, the histogram lines are growing in length and printing above the zero line, along with the green MACD line and the signal line, the red signal line, sloping upwards. So all these confluences suggest a continued bullish push to the upside in the price of USD RUB, Russian ruble, over the next 2 minutes. So let's monitor this trade and wait for the expiration. Okay, so that trade was in the money. So I'm going to end the trading session here. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in keeping up with my latest trading strategies. I have a link to the trading platform in the video comments and or in the channel, the video description or the channel bio. Also, I wanted to make note that I've been risking about 1% of my capital, except for the trade where I took the 3 trades in order to help recover the loss of the previous trade. You want to grow your account slowly but surely. So we don't want to risk huge amounts of our capital, because you will incur losses occasionally. And those losses, if you risk too much, they'll result in huge losses as well. So the idea is to grow your account slowly but surely. So yeah, this is the trading strategy that I've been utilizing for the past few weeks. Has been really working well for me, and I hope you like it. So I'll see you in the next video. Gus Schmidt.